everyone, it's Allison. Welcome back to Financial Flamingo. Today I wanted to do a walkthrough of my 2025 budget planner or budget binder, whatever you want to call it. This is my budget binder here. I use a budget binder printable that I created myself for myself that makes sense, for my brain and how my brain wants to budget. So this is what I have been using to pay off debt, keep myself motivated, stick to my budget, all that good stuff. So I just wanted to kind of do a walkthrough just so you guys knew what I was using and how I'm tracking my finances and all of that. So this is a Happy Planner style system, disc bound. This cover, I'll just link everything down below instead of just sharing what everything is. I'll link it if I can find it. But in the front, I just keep some stamps, my Edward Jones Guys card, and then I keep a couple cash breakdown slips in here for my cash envelope system. We've got a title page here, and then we jump into this first yearly tab. So the reason I like this system is because I can just add random stuff in here. So I just have these little do not spend reminders in here. But first up, I have my financial goals. These are the things that I want to accomplish in 2025. You can see I've already made some good progress. It's only February. Next up, I have, it says financial goals. I use this as like important financial things that happened. So you can see I wrote down big financial things that happened during these months. I just like this to kind of go back and look at, and I'll go back in October and look at what happened in the beginning of the year, and it kind of just gives me a way to easily see my progress throughout the year. I added another financial goals worksheet just because we had made so much progress that I was thinking we were going to need a couple more. Again, can add stuff in here. I have a key here that goes along with this year at a glance calendar. So these are the things that I wanted to track that either have to do with our budget or are things we only will pay a couple times a year. Like we're working on paying our car insurance every 6 months instead of monthly. So that's something I want to track on here once we get that going for me and my husband's car insurance. So it's just stuff like that that I just want to keep track of, maybe subscriptions that only get charged once a year or something like that, so that I can be sure to include them in my budget. Next up, I have my bill tracker. I'll pull this out so that we can see it a little bit easier. I just use this to make sure that all my bills get paid. I have the due dates over here. I have what the bill is. There's annual ones, and I just check them off as they're paid each month, basically. So let's see, have any of these been paid since? I don't think so. I haven't paid. I'm up to date basically at this point. So I just use this to track and make sure that all my auto pays come out correctly. And then once something is paid off or we cancel it, whatever, we don't have to pay it anymore, I'll just draw a line so that I know I don't have to check that off anymore. So I will pop this back in here. Then I just have an overall financial goals. I've had this in my budget binder for a little bit now, so I just like to see our progress, and this is kind of like our overall plan at this time on what we're working towards. So just helps me stay motivated. This page is just to track my credit score. I write it down at the end of every month, and I use the Credit Karma app. So then I just have ones we have completed in the back. We have 2 student loans that were federal student loans of my husband's. We have, this was a Green Sky, financing credit card type loan for work we had done on the foundation of our house that we've paid off. Then my husband's Capital One credit card that we've paid off. So I just didn't like this one as much, so I made my own. I don't like how high these amounts were, so I made my own that had way more icons, which is why I switched to using my own. So I have those in there to just keep me motivated, and they're really nice to look back on. I have an investment section here. There's nothing in it at the moment because I actually took it out. The only thing I have in here right now is notes from our meeting with our financial advisor, because we're working on getting some retirement accounts set up and rolling some old accounts over and setting up some life insurance and all that good stuff. So that information will be kept in this section, so it's easy access. And then I also have account passwords here, so didn't need to share all that personal kind of account information in a video. So that's normally what is in this section. And then over time, I probably will start putting net worth trackers in here as we start to build wealth and invest and all that kind of stuff. So then we get into the monthly tabs. I'm going to jump us to February because that is the most complete month that's in here in the month we're currently in. So first I have my highlighter key. I have all of my different kinds of bills and spending broken up with different highlighter colors. So those are all here. And then I do have my bill due dates on the back of here. And obviously you can see I update it as we pay off debts, which is great. Then I have my monthly calendars. I used a little bit of stickers to make them cute, but in general, the purpose of this is for me to put my bills on, and then I kind of do the same thing where I just like track them and I check them off when they are paid. And then I track my spending on here because I like to see at a glance what money I have been spending and if I'm getting a little, you know, going overboard in one category. Because if I had a ton of this yellow on here, all right, I'm spending a ton of my spending money and I need to cool it a little bit. So I like doing it on the calendar and in a spending tracker because I just like seeing it that way. So it's probably overkill, but it works for my brain. I also will put like paydays in here, and then like we had our meeting with our financial advisor. So just put kind of financial stuff in here. Then I have kind of my like monthly trackers. This is where I put like important events that'll affect our budget or our finances, my goals for the month, and then anything I need to do. So like we actually did this yesterday. We went and opened our joint savings account, so I can check that off. Just things like that that I want to make sure I focus on for the month. Then I have a no spend tracker. I have one of these in every single month in this planner because I try to do some form of no spend every month. So like this one was just general no spending, and I need to update it for this weekend, but I didn't really have like a specific thing I didn't want to spend on. I just wanted to be more intentional and more aware of what I was spending. So any day that I didn't spend money on things other than like budgeted items, so like I don't count it if I bought groceries or gas or something that I don't have a choice. Like I don't have a choice but to get groceries, or my husband and I don't eat. So I don't count that as spending on one of these days because that's money I budgeted for. But for like eating out, my spending money, coffee, self-care, those kinds of things are counted as spending because that's money I could potentially be saving if I didn't spend it. So that's how I look at that. Some months I'll do like no coffee or no eating out or something like that, and it just helps me be more intentional for the month. The next page is just how I was breaking down my tax refund when I got it, so that's kind of irrelevant to this video. Then I have a sinking funds tracker. I just put what my sinking funds and savings are on here, what the starting balance was at the beginning of the month. So this was the beginning of February. And then at the end of February, I will put what I either added or subtracted, and then the new ending balance. We have all of our sinking funds in one big savings account. Well, that's where they are now. They will be going into cash. They will be in cash. I'm working on setting up cash sinking funds binders because a lot of these things we end up using cash for anyway, so it just kind of makes more sense than having to go to the bank every time. So other than our emergency fund, that will stay in the bank, a lot of the rest of this money will stay in cash until it gets to like a really high amount, and then I'll do like placeholders and put that cash into a savings account. I just did this down here so that if I did spend money out of my sinking funds, I could track it very easily on this page. So that is that. Then I get into my actual like paycheck budget worksheets. So I don't actually have my budget in this binder. I budget using a spreadsheet, which I will link down below because I have it on my website and I have it in my Shopify store. It's actually a free download, so I'll link it in case you want to check it out. But I get paid bi-weekly, so I just have to have both paychecks directly next to each other in one spreadsheet to make sure that the math works out and to make sure I pay all my bills. So I'll put like an image of it up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about, but I can get it on my phone, on the computer, and I don't really see the point in like putting it in here. Like I'd print it just to put it in here for no reason because I can see it everywhere. So I have my cash breakdowns in here. I prep these before I get cash out for every paycheck. So I do my budget for that paycheck, and then these are my variable expenses and my sinking funds. So I decide what the amounts are going to be, and then I calculate out what I need to take in cash, and then I use my little cash breakdown slips and I translate this information over and I take this to the bank with me to get my cash. It's super easy. So that I have in here for each paycheck of each month. So this one was for February 14th, and then these spending trackers are for the same paycheck. So this just makes sense in my mind. This is how I track my spending. I have a little section for each of my variable expenses, and they are the same as these color codes. So it just flows in my head. So this is groceries, this is gas, this is spending, this is pets, this is eating out, this is beauty. So that's just how it makes sense to me. I track my spending in here, and then I know at any time how much money I have left for groceries, how much money I have left for gas. That just makes way more sense to me, especially like some of these I keep in cash, but like groceries is kept in the bank because it's easier to do online orders with, you know, a debit card. So, and I'm not going to use cash to get gas. That's super inconvenient. So these two are in the bank. The rest of this I can see in cash, but it's just an easy way to know exactly what my balance is at any given time. So this is just how I do it, and I just print enough spending trackers for whatever my variable expense categories are for that paycheck. So then for 2/28 paycheck, I have another cash breakdown, and then I have my expense trackers again. And then that really, honestly, is my whole budget binder. The rest of these months are set up exactly the same way with exactly the same pages. So this is how my brain has functioned for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years of budgeting. It makes the most sense for me. Recently switching over to the cash method has done wonders for keeping me from spending my money now that I have convenient access to a bank. So I am super happy that I switched over to that. And I've just gone back to using this tried and true simple method. Printables are easy. I don't have to set anything up in a planner. I just printed it all for the entire year, put it in here, got my dividers, got my extender rings, and I was good to go. So if you have any questions on this setup, let me know down below. Again, I will link everything that I can down below and everything I can find in case you want to set this up for yourself. But that is all I have for this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!